the whispering forest, the healer of Linden Hollow. In a tucked-away corner of the world, where mist clung to the ground and trees towered like ancient guardians, there was a village called Linden Hollow. Life in the hollow was simple, woven around farming, weaving, and small joys. But one soul shone brighter than all, a woman named Elira. Elira was a healer, born with a gift so profound that even the village priest had once called her, touched by the old gods. Her mother had been a midwife, her father a woodsman, and from them she had learned both the secrets of the human body and the quiet language of the forest. Her home was a small stone cottage, half swallowed by vines. At the edge of the endless green forest, bees hummed in her herb garden, wild roses grew up the doorframe. People came from many villages to seek her help, the sick, the broken, the grieving, and she helped them all, never asking for gold, only for seeds to plant or songs to hear. They said Elira listened when no one else could, even to things most people could not hear: the sigh of the trees, the laughter of the river, the sorrow of the stones. A shadow falls. One spring, a strange stillness fell over the land. The rains stopped, wells dried, crops refused to grow, animals became thin and wild-eyed. At first, the villagers prayed, believing it only a harsh season, but when weeks turned into months, fear began to spread. And there were other signs, darker ones. At night, the forest whispered louder, no longer gentle, but restless and sharp. Children woke screaming from nightmares of black vines and hollow-eyed figures. Flocks of birds flew in frantic circles above the woods, then dropped from the sky, dead. The villagers turned to Elira. "Ask the forest to forgive us," they pleaded. "Beg it to lift this curse." Elira, whose heart broke for her people, agreed. Though she feared the deeper parts of the endless green forest, places even she had never dared to go, she packed her satchel with herbs, braided charms into her hair, and set off at twilight. The whole village watched as she passed the fields, her figure swallowed by the misty green beyond. They never saw her again. Into the heartwood, the forest grew stranger the farther Elira walked. The trees, ancient and gnarled, leaned in close, their bark groaning with every step she took. The paths she had known as a child were gone, swallowed by thickets and creeping vines. Moonlight struggled to pierce the thick canopy, painting the world in silver and black. Still, she pressed on. She whispered prayers in the old tongue, leaving offerings of berries, feathers, and woven leaves. She sang songs. She stumbled into a clearing, and there, in the center, stood an ancient tree so massive it seemed to hold up the sky itself. Its bark was as black as pitch, its roots knotted and vast, and from its hollow heart poured a low, humming sound, not quite a growl, not quite a song. Elira knew then, this was the heartwood, the true center of the forest, and it was dying. She fell to her knees, feeling its pain, a deep, aching grief that had been growing for centuries. The heartwood was no longer fed by love, respect, and life. It had been starved, wounded by the greed of men who chopped forests, poisoned rivers, and forgot the old ways. The heartwood needed a sacrifice, not an offering of flowers, not a prayer, something greater. Chapter 4. The Last Gift. Elira sat before the heartwood and wept, not from fear, but from sorrow. She had always known that her life was tied to the forest. Now she understood how tightly, how deeply. Slowly, she rose to her feet. From her satchel, she drew out her mother's old sickle, once used for harvesting sacred herbs. She cut a lock of her own hair, kissed it, and laid it at the base of the heartwood. Then she spoke, "I give myself, willingly and with love. Heal and live." The forest shuddered, the ground shook, leaves spiraled upward like birds taking flight, and from the hollow of the heartwood, something old and wild surged forth, a blinding light, green and gold, pure and terrible. Elira cried out once, a sound full of both pain and joy, and then her body crumbled into mist. Where she had stood, a new sapling rose, slender and glowing. The heartwood